Every day you stumble over the same errors of your brain, such as confirmation bias. Crack this and achieve everything you want in life much more easily. You know how it is. You have a new love, but after a few months, you suddenly notice annoying habits that you hardly noticed before. Then you fall victim to confirmation bias. This filter in your brain withholds important information from you in order to avoid internal conflicts and prevent you from constantly questioning your worldview. The nasty thing about it is that you usually don't even know what information you're missing, because before it can be consciously weighed and evaluated, it first has to pass through your subconscious. And as soon as something contradicts your previous beliefs, its alarm goes off, and only a shadow of this news is allowed to pass into your consciousness. Conversely, the confirmation bias also causes you to perceive everything that is of particular interest to you much more clearly than other things. Confirmation bias thus creates a rather distorted picture of our reality. And this not only leads to unfair judgments and even outright prejudice, but also to people becoming superstitious because they only ever perceive things that confirm their superstitions. Confirmation bias can also be really dangerous, because even the smartest minds need it to keep everything clear enough to survive, but they regularly overdo it. Judges repeatedly commit serious miscarriages of justice when, without realizing it, they only evaluate evidence that confirms their initial suspicions. And doctors overlook illnesses because they cling to previous misdiagnoses. When doctors were deliberately given false diagnoses to review for a study, 33% of them stuck to their original diagnoses. This is because they only looked for symptoms that confirmed the preliminary diagnosis instead of refuting it. Confirmation bias is so powerful that even when doctors were told in advance that they were highly likely to fall victim to it, only 11% of them became more self-critical. By the way, social media platforms have even been programmed as technical confirmation biases. They keep as much as possible that contradicts your existing beliefs away from you and do everything they can to only ever confirm your beliefs. This quickly leads you to think that the world works completely differently than it actually does. So the bad news is, none of us will ever be able to completely get rid of confirmation bias. But the good news is, you can significantly reduce it, and you're already halfway there by understanding that this filter exists in our brains. And then, there are a few effective hacks. If you feel immediate inner clarity and certainty before making a decision, then that's confirmation bias, because immediate certainty is almost only possible when all counter-information has been filtered out. Fortunately, confirmation bias is highly time-dependent. Sleeping on it has always been good advice for a reason. Immediately works, on the other hand, if you enjoy becoming your own opponent, look for arguments against yourself. I know, easier said than done, because that's exactly what confirmation bias wants to prevent. But if you see it as a game against yourself, it usually works anyway. And it works best if you don't start by trying to find all counter-arguments right away, but ask yourself, what could be the one biggest argument against my previous conviction? This usually allows the other facts to follow naturally, and you make better decisions for yourself, and for everyone else. Because when you know the systemic errors of the human brain, you automatically get much more out of life. Follow me, because next week, I'll show you the thinking trap that almost everyone falls into.